Talking Flames hockey right now with the voice of the Calgary Flames, Derek Wills, even during commercials, of course. The Flames heading into the All-Star break and their NHL bye week on a 3-game winning streak, top team in the Western Conference. To find out just how well the Flames are playing, we're turning to the voice of the Flames, Derek Wills. You see these guys day in, day out, practicing when it's morning skate game day. You see them playing the games. You chat with the guys in the dressing room. And this year is so different than last year at this point. And what do you think's going on? Like, what's pushing the team so hard?
Well, it's been an unbelievably fun year. I mean, last year they had a hard time scoring goals at home. They had a hard time finding ways to win games at home. This year, all they do is score goals at home. They lead the NHL in goals for at home, and they've been one of the best home teams in the league, one of the best road teams in the league as well. But I think Bill Peters has done an excellent job coaching a fantastic team that Brad Treleving's put together. This is the deepest Flames team in more than a decade, and maybe going back 2 or 3 decades. It's been unbelievable.
We've got the highlights, of course, Shillington's goal last night. Then we have Jankowski, of course, about to score here. And these are not the first-line guys scoring last night. The only Elias Lindholm, I think, got an assist, and he was the only top-line guy to get a point last night. That's how deep the team is.
Yeah, Johnny Gaudreau had the league's longest point streak going into last night's game, 11 games, and he didn't get on the score sheet, which is usually a bad thing for the Flames. But, you know, in games in the last couple of weeks, the secondary scoring's been a lot better, and that beauty that Michael Backlund scored in overtime. As I like to say, the sea of red rose at Scotiabank Saddledome because the Flames gave up the game-tying goal with less than a minute to go.
Sure.
So, you know, scoring the second fastest OT goal in team history, 15 seconds in overtime, just a ton of fun. And this team has been so much fun to watch. I think it's safe to say Scotiabank Saddledome has been the best place to watch NHL games this season. With the way the Flames have played, the brand of hockey they've played, the amount of winning they've done, it's been just awesome.
Mark Giordano, of course, he's playing one heck of a season. He's a 35-year-old hockey player playing like he's 23, right? Do you think the Calgary Flames, the story, compared to last year to this year, where they are 51 games in, heading into the All-Star break, do you think they're not getting the credit that's due to the team?
I think they're starting to get credit around the league. We're certainly hearing it coming out of Toronto, and there's been a lot of talk about Johnny Gaudreau for the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the most valuable player to his team, you can make a pretty strong case that Johnny Gaudreau has been that for the Flames this season. I think Mark Giordano should get some credit as far as the Hart Trophy is concerned. He's certainly in the Norris Trophy conversation as the best defenseman in the NHL. But this is a team that, because of the way they play, is getting noticed. They're never out of a hockey game. And early in the season, I think they built a lot of confidence and momentum because they came from behind to win a lot of games in third periods. And now they believe that regardless of whether they're ahead, even, or behind in a game, they can win and that they can beat anybody on every given night. And this is a team that is 6 points up in their division and in their conference. So it's hard not to call them Stanley Cup contenders at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, we have 31 games left in the season. This 9-day break, so last night's game and then February 1st is the next game. Is this a chance to, you know, recover, rest some injuries and that type of thing? Or do you think the guys might get a bit rusty? What do you think?
Well, I think a little bit of both is probably going to happen. It's a great chance to recharge your batteries because this team's going to the Stanley Cup playoffs. We know that at this point. They haven't clinched a spot, but for all intents and purposes, we know they're going to be playing spring hockey this year. So get ready for the second half of the season. The exciting thing about this team for me is that I don't think they've reached their potential yet.
Wow.
Last night's game is a great example. They didn't play very well in the first 40 minutes. David Riddick made some big saves, as he's done all season, kept him in it, and then they find a way to win that game in the third period in an overtime. So this is a team that has played at a really high level, but I still think there's more to give, and it's going to be a lot of fun in the second half of the season. And one positive for the Flames, Alex Ovechkin, who, of course, won a Stanley Cup last year, and he's well into his 30s, has decided to take the NHL All-Star game off, which means an automatic 1-game suspension. So he could choose to take the suspension the game before the break or the game after the break. He's decided to take it the game after the break. And, of course, the Flames in Washington to play the Capitals on February 1st. So worked out pretty well for the Flames.
I was going to say, one of the league's all-time best scorers is sitting it out just because he doesn't. He's resting, isn't he? He's got to be resting.
He's resting. And you know what? I don't think it's a bad thing for him to do. It is an absolute grind. And people talk about the Stanley Cup hangover. It's because you're playing into June, and you're playing hard hockey into June. So you have a shorter off season, less time to recover and kind of ramp yourself up for the next season. So for a guy like Alex Ovechkin, if 1 game off helps him get a longer break because he gets the All-Star break and then the 5-day break, I think it's probably worth that investment. And the spin-off is that the Flames don't have to deal with the best goal scorer in the game on February 1st.
February 1st, that's the next Calgary Flames hockey hockey game on the road in Washington, taking on the very good Washington Capitals, defending champs, of course. All-Star game Saturday at 6. The skills competition on Friday is also happening this weekend out of San Jose. All the action on Hockey Night in Canada and Sportsnet and Rogers NHL Live. And yeah, Capitals, that's the first game back for you, my friend, coming back from the break. And I know you're going away, so enjoy your time off from the game.
Well, thanks, and thanks for having me today.
Good to see Derek Wills, voice of the Calgary Flames. Always appreciate your input, my friend. Always appreciate it. 8:27 around the corner. We have your news headlines. We have your traffic update. Andy's going to let us know how long the snow is going to fall today. That's next.